My parents defending my golden sister after she manipulated my partner right before our move. When her treachery exposed their dishonesty, I broke all connections and designed a retaliation that would ruin them. Be me, sitting here at 4:30 a.m., knuckles bloody and barely holding it together. Need to write this down while processing this mess. Maybe it'll help someone spot the red flags I missed. Some background? Have an adopted brother. Let's call him Marcus. He's always been the golden child in our family. Parents brought him home when I was 4. From day one, it was like they built their world around this kid. Meanwhile, I was just an afterthought, like a backup quarterback who never gets to play. Maybe it was overcompensation, like they had to prove they loved him just as much. Actually, no, they loved him more, because he wasn't theirs by blood. Every birthday, every Christmas, every time we were in the same room, always going the extra mile for him. Meanwhile, there's me, their biological kid, the one who didn't need the special treatment, and Marcus was always the charming one. Got straight A's without trying, captain of whatever sports team he felt like joining that semester, while I was just the regular bio kid they already had. Don't get me wrong, my parents fed and clothed me and all that, but there was always this vibe. Marcus could do no wrong, and I was just supposed to suck it up. Dad missed my high school graduation, because Marcus had a tennis tournament the same day. That kind of stuff was normal. Fast forward to now. I'm 29, he's 27. Marcus works at some prestigious consulting firm in Chicago, drives a Porsche, has that downtown penthouse with the glass walls. Always wondered if part of him felt like he had something to prove. Like being adopted meant he had to outshine me at everything, just to secure his place. Maybe he thought being the better son would erase the fact that he wasn't their real son. He definitely succeeded at outshining me. Busted my ass to become a firefighter. Made lieutenant last year. Youngest in my district. I love my job. Literally save lives. But to my parents, still doesn't compare to Marcus's corporate bullshit. Not making surprise trip to Italy, money like Golden Boy. Then I met Amy. Holy shit, Anons. She's smart, hot as hell, funny as fuck, and for once, someone who saw me as David. Not as Marcus's brother. She's a UX designer. Has this awesome sleeve tattoo of sacred geometry. Somehow still looks professional and classy. We dated for 3 years. When I proposed, she said yes without hesitating. Here's where everything goes to shit. My parents, of course, insisted Marcus help with the wedding planning. He's got connections, David. He knows the right people. Amy thought it was great, too. Who wouldn't want a fancy wedding at half price? So Marcus volunteered to handle the hotel arrangements. For the wedding party and all that stuff. You've got enough on your plate with your work schedule, bro. Let me take care of it. Showed me screenshots of the bookings on his phone. Always the helpful one. Always there. Like a fucking snake waiting to strike. So there I was at the rehearsal dinner. Nothing seemed off until I realized. Hadn't seen Amy for like an hour. She texted saying she was feeling overwhelmed. Needed some air. Figured it was just normal bride jitters or whatever. Tried calling but straight to voicemail. Then I noticed Marcus was gone too. Probably went to grab more ice, someone said. But his car wasn't in the parking lot. Something in my gut felt wrong. Like when you walk into a room that's too quiet on a fire call. Opened Instagram to message Amy. Saw she'd posted a story for like a second before deleting it. But I caught the hotel room number in the background. Different from ours. Room 312. Here's the thing about being with someone for 3 years. You know their passcode. Amy never changed hers. Her sister's birthday. Checked her recent texts with Marcus. Lots of wedding planning stuff. But then more personal shit. Flirty, can't wait to see you tonight kind of texts. Took the elevator up to 312. Used the spare key card Marcus had given me. In case of emergency. The fucking irony. Hallway was dead quiet, except for my footsteps. And some ice machine humming in the distance. My hands were shaking so bad. Almost dropped the key card. Door beeped green. They didn't even hear me come in at first. Didn't yell. Didn't slam the door. Just stood there taking it all in. My mind racing on what I should do. At the shitty moment, did the first thing that came to mind, taking pictures on my phone. Evidence. That's when Marcus noticed me. This fucker didn't jump. Didn't try to cover up. He just smirked. Actually fucking smirked. She was never yours to begin with, he said. Reaching for his phone. Want to see the messages? How long this has been going on? How she comes to me every time you're working those 24-hour shifts. Amy was crying. As if she's doing it involuntarily. David, please. I can explain. It's not what. I exhaled slowly, rolling my shoulders. That was the moment he sealed his fate. Not when he took her from me. Because looking at Amy now, she wasn't even worth stealing. Not when he crawled into bed with my fiancée. Not when he spent years leeching off everything. That should have been mine, like he was entitled to it. It was right now. When he thought he won, when he decided to gloat, I smiled. A cold knowing you're about to regret everything kind of smile. Yeah, I said, stepping forward, and you were never built to keep it. Then I swung, caught him with a right hook, connected with his jaw. He stumbled back, surprised that his usually calm brother had finally snapped. We crashed into the hotel desk, knocking over lamps. The TV. Amy was screaming for us to stop. Marcus got in a couple shots, but he didn't stand a chance. Against someone who carries people out of burning buildings for a living. I tackled him into the bathroom door, splintering it. You take everything, I barked, driving my fist into his smug face again. And for what? Her? I let out a sharp laugh, shoving him back like the worthless parasite he was. You didn't steal anything, Marcus. You just took out my trash. He staggered, barely staying on his feet, finally realizing he was never built to go toe-to-toe with a man who actually earned what he had. Hotel security finally pulled us apart. My knuckles were bleeding. Marcus's eye was already swelling shut, his lips split. As they dragged me out, I looked at Amy, who was clutching the sheets around her, like they could somehow protect her from the mess she made. Keep the ring, I said, my voice weirdly calm. It's fake anyway. It wasn't fake, but watching her face fall was worth the lie. Sat in my truck in the hotel parking lot, called and canceled the venue, called my crew chief, asked if I could pick up extra shifts next week. Anything to keep busy. After sitting in my truck for like an hour that night, finally decided to call my parents back, just to let them know the wedding was off. Simple, direct. But before I could even finish my sentence, my mom cut me off. Marcus already called us. How could you, David? Attacking your brother like that. We raised you better. Of course he called them first. Classic Marcus move. Always controlling the narrative. Did he mention he was fucking my fiancé? I shouted into the phone. Yeah, not my proudest moment, but I was still seeing red. Dead silence on the other end. Then my dad, there must be some misunderstanding. Marcus said Amy came to him upset about having doubts, and he was just comforting her when you barged in and went crazy. Unbelievable. Even with this, they were taking his side. The golden child could do no wrong, even when caught deep in my fiancé. Yeah, he was comforting her all right. With his dick, my mom gasped. My dad told me I was being vulgar and irrational, to come over tomorrow when I'd calm down. I hung up, sat there gripping my phone so hard. My fingers ached, my head was pounding, my heart still slamming in my chest, but I wasn't even sure if it was anger anymore. It felt like I was free falling, like my entire life had just split down the middle, and I had no idea where I was going to land. Amy was gone. The wedding was off. My parents predictably took Marcus's side, and Marcus was probably sitting somewhere smug, knowing he got away with it again. How long? That question was eating at me. How long had this been going on? Was it just some spur-of-the-moment betrayal? Or had I been a joke to them for months? Years? Did he always have his sights on whatever was mine? And then another thought hit me. One that made my stomach turn. Was Amy the first? I ran through every serious relationship I'd ever had, every girl I ever trusted, and a sick feeling crawled up my spine. Marcus had always been charming, always the center of attention, and I never thought twice about it. Until now, I needed to know. Scrolled through my contacts, found a number I hadn't used in years. Marcus's ex, hit call. Who's this? Nicole, it's David. A pause. Why are you calling me? Straight to the point. I need to ask you something about Marcus. Nicole scoffed. No, you really don't. It's important. I forced the words out, my throat dry. I need to know. When you two were together, did he ever cheat on you? That got another sharp laugh, but there was no humor in it. You're calling me out of nowhere after 2 years to ask if Marcus was faithful? I don't know what kind of mess you're in, but I'm not part of it. I have nothing to do with him anymore. It is your business. My voice came out harsher than I meant it to, but I didn't care. He was sleeping with Amy. Silence. When Nicole finally spoke again, her tone was clipped. That's awful, but it's not my problem. You were with him for 3 years. I pushed. You just suddenly broke up. No explanation. Was it because of something like this? Nicole exhaled sharply, like she was trying to hold back something bitter. David, I don't owe you anything. You should have figured out the kind of guy your brother is before he wrecked your life. Not after. I'm just trying to understand. I said, I need to know if this is who he's always been. There was a long pause. Then flatly she said, move on, and she hung up. I stared at the screen, a wave of anger rolling through me. She knew something. I could feel it, but she wasn't willing to say it. Fine. I didn't need her. I still had a job to do. Shoved my phone in my pocket, turned the key in the ignition, and pulled out of the lot. I decided to go first thing in the morning, to my parents' house, to show them exactly what their golden child had done. The next morning, as I was about to head out again, my phone rang. It was Nicole. I picked up, bracing for another shutdown. But her voice was different. "David, I'm sorry about yesterday. I didn't know. I didn't say anything. Just waited." She took a breath. "There's something you should know about Marcus. Can we meet?" We agreed to meet at this 24-hour diner. I go to sometimes after rough shifts. When I got there, Nicole looked different than I remembered. She seemed more confident, but also kind of nervous. I wasn't going to say anything. She started, fidgeting with her coffee cup. "But after what he did to you and Amy, you deserve to know." She pulled out her phone, showed me pictures of a little boy, maybe 18 months old. Cute kid, curly hair, big eyes. "This is Lucas, your nephew." I stared at her, not understanding at first. Then it hit me, like a ladder falling off the truck. Marcus has a son. Why would he hide that? Nicole laughed, but there was no humor in it. Because he wanted nothing to do with him. When I told him I was pregnant, he said it would ruin his image, offered to pay for an abortion. When I refused, he made me sign an NDA as part of a support agreement. I get monthly payments, as long as I never tell anyone he's the father, especially not your parents. I looked closer at the photos. The kid had the same dimple on his right cheek. That Marcus has... Holy shit. "There's more," Nicole said, scrolling through her phone. Screenshots of conversations. Emails where he talks about other women, while they were together, including some from Amy. That started 6 months ago. 6 months? Amy and I were already engaged by then. We were looking at fucking wedding venues. "Why are you showing me this now?" I asked. "Because I'm tired of the lies, and because your family deserves to know what kind of person he really is." She hesitated. "There's something else you should know. Marcus has been taking credit for your work. At the fire department." I blinked. "What? How? You know Kevin at your station? The one with the podcast about extreme sports? Kevin, the guy who always seemed too interested in my ideas at shift meetings. Marcus and Kevin play racquetball together. Kevin's been feeding Marcus all your fire safety protocols and community outreach ideas. Marcus has been presenting them to the city council as his own consulting work. That's how he landed that city contract last year. With your shelter improvement plan." My head was spinning. The golden child had built his kingdom on lies, and I had the evidence to burn it all down. "What are you going to do?" Nicole asked. I smiled, the kind of smile you get when you're about to hit back. "For the first time in your life, I'm going to introduce my parents to their grandson." The next morning, asked Nicole if she'd come with me to my parents' house. She was nervous about breaking the NDA with Marcus, but I had a workaround. What if I'm the one who tells them? "You're just there to confirm." She thought about it, then nodded. "I think that works." So Sunday evening, we showed up at my parents' suburban home, the same one where they have a trophy case, dedicated to Marcus's achievements, while my fire department commendations are stuffed in a drawer somewhere. When my mom opened the door and saw Nicole, she looked confused. "Nicole, what a surprise. We haven't seen you since, well, it's been a while." "She's with me, Mom," I said, walking in. My dad was in his usual armchair, watching golf. He looked up, frowning when he saw my still bruised knuckles. "David, if you've come to apologize to your brother, he's not here. I know that's why I came. Now there's something you both need to know." I motioned for Nicole to sit. I pulled up the first photo of little Lucas and handed my phone to my mom. My dad leaned over to look. "What a cute baby," my mom said, confused. "Whose child is this?" "Your grandson," I said. Marcus's son. The color drained from both their faces. My dad snatched the phone, zooming in on the picture, like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. That's not possible. Marcus would have told us if he had a child." Nicole spoke up. "He made me sign an agreement never to tell anyone. He pays child support on the condition I keep quiet." I swiped to the next photo. Lucas at the park. The family dimple clearly visible. "Oh my God," my mom whispered. "He looks just like Marcus did at that age," my dad finished, voice hollow. I took back my phone and pulled up some of the screenshots Nicole had shared. There's more. Marcus has been cheating on every girlfriend he's ever had, including with my fiancé for at least 6 months. My parents sat in stunned silence as I showed message after message, date and time stamped. And I continued, "He's been stealing my work through a guy on my crew, presenting it as his own to city officials." My dad shook his head. "No, there must be some explanation." That's when the front door opened, and Marcus walked in. Perfect fucking timing. He froze when he saw all of us in the living room, his eyes locking on Nicole, and then the phone in my hand. One side of his face was purple, from where I'd connected. What the fuck is she doing here? He snarled. My mom stood up, tears in her eyes. Is it true? Do you have a son? Marcus's face went through about 5 expressions in 2 seconds, finally settling on cold calculation. Nicole's mentally unstable. That kid could be anyone's. Stop lying. Nicole cut in, something fierce in her voice. I have the DNA test results in my purse. Lucas is your son, and these people are his grandparents. My dad stood now too, looking older than I'd ever seen him. All these years we trusted you, supported you. We always tried to make you feel like you belonged. And this is how you repay us? By lying? By hurting your brother? Marcus laughed. That condescending laugh I'd heard 1,000,000 times. Oh please, poor David. Always the victim. You want to know why Amy came to me? Because she was bored. Because David's just a... He didn't finish. Because my dad did something I'd never seen in my 29 years. He slapped Marcus across the face. Get out of my house, he said, voice shaking. Marcus looked stunned, touching his cheek, where the slap had landed, on top of my bruise. Then his eyes narrowed. Fine, but don't expect another dime from me. No more vacations. No more helping with the mortgage. You're on your own. As he stormed out, slamming the door, my parents collapsed onto the couch. My mom was openly sobbing now. I'm so sorry, David. She kept saying, we didn't know, we didn't see it. Wasn't the vindication I'd expected. It just felt sad. After Nicole left, I stayed for a couple more hours, just talking with them. They had a lot of questions about Lucas. When was he born? Does he have any allergies? Does he like dinosaurs or trucks? Kid's not even 2, so both, I guess. Monday morning. Spent canceling all the remaining wedding stuff. Pro tip. When vendors hear my brother slept with the bride, they get surprisingly flexible about refund policies. Most gave back at least 70%. Even the venue that was supposed to be non-refundable. The few who were being dicks about it, let's just say their Yelp pages, are about to get some pretty detailed reviews. Amy's been blowing up my phone, first with tearful apologies, then with accusations. You never made me feel special. You work too much. Then back to begging forgiveness. Most recent one was a voice message, where she's crying so hard, I can barely understand her, saying she made a huge mistake. And Marcus manipulated her. I haven't blocked her. I'm just letting the messages pile up, in case I need them later. Plus, it's kind of satisfying watching her spiral. Not gonna lie. The interesting part started Tuesday. Remember Kevin from my fire station? The guy who was feeding info to Marcus. I confronted him during shift change, laid out everything I knew. Dude turned white as a ghost. I didn't know he was using you like that. He stammered. He just asked casual questions about your schedule, your policies, said he was proud of his brother's work. Save it, I told him. You've got 2 options. Help me take him down properly. Or I go to the chief today, about how you've been sleeping through night shifts and swapping coverage without logging it. Kevin chose option 1. Smart guy. With his help, I compiled evidence of all the times Marcus had used his connections to get special treatment, including the consulting he did for the fire marshal's office, where he basically took my safety improvement suggestions from family dinners and presented them as his own to city officials. I sent everything directly to the ethics committee at Marcus's company, with timestamps showing these were my ideas. That predated Marcus's innovations by months, included a nice little note about how he'd been billing the city for expert consulting on fire safety protocols, developed by an actual fucking firefighter. But I didn't stop there. Remember how Marcus was so insistent on handling the hotel arrangements for the wedding? Turns out he put everything on the company card. The premium suites, the champagne, all of it, filed as client entertainment expenses. The corporate fraud cherry, on top of the intellectual property theft Sunday. Wednesday morning. I got a call from Nicole. She was crying, but happy tears this time. They called me, she said. Marcus's parents, they want to meet Lucas. Turns out my mom couldn't wait. She'd asked me for Nicole's number and called her first thing Monday morning. They arranged for a park meetup on Thursday. I don't think Marcus knows yet, Nicole said. He hasn't changed the child support deposit or anything. He will soon, I told her. Sure enough, Wednesday afternoon, my phone blew up with texts from Marcus. What the fuck did you do? My boss just called me in for an emergency meeting. You fucking snake. I didn't respond. Just let him stew. Thursday morning, I was on shift when the station TV caught my eye. Local news was showing Marcus's consulting firm. The ticker at the bottom read, "Local consultant suspended amid ethics investigation." My captain saw me staring and clapped me on the shoulder. Isn't that your brother's firm? Yeah, I said, trying not to smile too obviously. Huh, he said. World's full of assholes trying to cut corners. Then he narrowed his eyes at me. You look way too happy about this. This have anything to do with your wedding getting canceled? I just shrugged. Cap's a smart guy. He figured it out and laughed. Remind me never to piss you off, Lieutenant. That day, Amy showed up out of nowhere at the station. She looked like hell. Puffy eyes. Hair a mess. That whole feel sorry for me look. She probably practiced in the mirror before coming. 2 minutes, she begged. Please, David. I made a horrible mistake. I didn't say anything. Just turned and walked toward my truck. If she wanted to talk, she could do it where my crew wouldn't have to watch. She trailed after me. Desperate. I don't know what I was thinking, she started. Marcus was just so attentive. Always there when you were working those 24-hour shifts? 48-hour shifts, I cut in. If you're going to blame my job for you cheating, at least get the schedule right. She flinched but kept going. That's not what I meant. I got caught up in the attention. He made me feel special, but it wasn't real. What we had was real. Too late, I said. Voice flat. You made your choice. Live with it. Please, she was crying now. Hands shaking. Like this was some kind of dramatic movie scene. I'll do anything. We can postpone the wedding. Go to counseling. My phone buzzed with a news alert. I checked it and smirked. Before turning the screen toward her, investment consultant fired over ethics violations and corporate fraud. The blood drained from her face. Is that Marcus? Yep. Guess his career's over. No more penthouse. No more Porsche. Hope it was worth it. Her mouth opened then closed. But he said it was just a misunderstanding. That they were jealous of his success. I let out a sharp laugh. You believe that? The guy who lied about having a kid? The guy who screwed his own brother's fiancée? And you thought he was honest with you. Her eyes snapped to confused. Wait, what? Marcus has a child? I pulled out my phone again, scrolled to the picture Nicole sent me, and held it out, a curly-haired toddler smiling at the camera. Meet Lucas, your ex-fiancé's nephew. She stared at the screen, her face going through about 5 different emotions. In 2 seconds, he lied to me. Her phone rang. Marcus's name flashing on the screen. She hesitated, then declined the call, her hands trembling. What should I do? I snorted. Not my problem. I yanked open my truck door and climbed in. But if I were you, I glanced at her one last time. I'd be careful. A guy who's lost everything. He's got nothing left to lose. I didn't wait for a response. Just pulled out and left her standing there, in the parking lot, looking completely wrecked. I didn't care. This wasn't my mess anymore. As I walked back into the station, I ran into Beth, one of the paramedics I'd known for years. She had this way of making the worst days feel manageable, like she carried an invisible weight for everyone else. You good? She asked, glancing at Amy still standing outside, like some tragic movie heroine. I exhaled. Yeah, just took out the last piece of trash from my life. She snorted. About time. Then after a beat, you ever going to let me buy you a drink? Or are you still on your lone wolf trust no one bullshit? I blinked. I hadn't even considered dating again. But the way she said it, like it was just a normal thing. No pressure. Felt different. Give me a couple weeks, I said, half joking. She smirked. You've got one. And then she was gone, leaving me standing there, suddenly wondering if moving on didn't have to be so complicated. And as it turned out, Marcus's mess was only getting started. Remember how his company fired him? For ethics violations and fraud? Turns out that was just the beginning. The ethics committee didn't just fire him. They reported him to the Financial Regulatory Board. His consultant license is being reviewed, which basically means he's unemployable in his field. The fancy corporate credit card is gone. And apparently he was living pretty much paycheck to paycheck. Despite the high salary, lots of debt, minimal savings. I know all this because my parents have been getting regular updates from him. Mostly desperate calls asking for money. They've been keeping me in the loop, which is a new and weird experience. For once, I'm not the last to know family news. Meanwhile, Amy's been on her own spiral. She lost her job at the design firm, not because of any scandal, but because she stopped showing up after our wedding was called off. Her roommate, who was supposed to be a bridesmaid, reached out to me last week. Apparently, Amy's been crashing on the couch, crying constantly, and refusing to look for new work. She keeps saying she's going to fix things with you. The roommate told me. I told her to move on, but she's not listening. I blocked Amy's number after that, not dealing with that level of delusion. But the real shit hit the fan last night. I was at home watching the hockey game when someone started pounding on my door. Around 11 p.m., I checked the peephole and nearly fell over. It was Marcus, looking like absolute hell. He had a fresh black eye. His clothes were wrinkled, and he reeked of cheap beer. When I opened the door, not exactly the polished consultant image, he used to maintain. "Can I crash here?" he slurred, trying to push past me. I blocked the doorway. "What happened to your eye?" He touched it, like he'd forgotten it was there. "Ran into one of Amy's friends at a bar. Guy sucker punched me. And you're here because got evicted yesterday. Been staying at a motel, but my card got declined." The pathetic part is, he wasn't even trying to sound sympathetic. Like he genuinely expected I'd just let him in after everything. "Not happening," I said, starting to close the door. He stuck his foot in the gap. "I'm your brother." I let out a cold laugh. "You're not my brother. You're just some kid my parents picked up and decided was more important than me." His face twisted, but I didn't let him get a word in. "You want to talk about family? A real brother doesn't stab you in the back. A real brother doesn't steal from you, doesn't sleep with your fiancé, doesn't make a career off your work. You're just a liar, a fraud, and now a homeless piece of shit." His mouth opened and closed, like he wanted to argue, but didn't know where to start. He settled on sheer entitlement. "God, are you still on that?" It was weeks ago. He actually sounded annoyed, like I was being unreasonable for not letting it go. I shoved his foot out of the way with my own. "Go crash with one of your consultant friends. Or Amy?" His face changed then. "Amy won't answer my calls. None of my friends will." And Dad hung up on me. I raised an eyebrow. Wow, it's almost like actions have consequences. That's when he switched tactics, his voice getting all soft and pitiful. "I need help, David. I think I have a problem with substances. Christ, this guy, always the victim. You have lots of problems, Marcus. None of them are my responsibility. Where am I supposed to go?" he whined. "There's a shelter on 7th and Oak. I helped set up their fire safety system last year. Tell them Lieutenant Wilson sent you." His face contorted in disgust. "A shelter? I'm not some bum." "Could have fooled me," I said, and slammed the door in his face. He started pounding on it again, yelling all kinds of shit about how I'd ruined his life and always been jealous. Classic Marcus, rock bottom and still convinced. It's everyone else's fault. I turned up the TV volume and let him tire himself out. My neighbor across the hall, a retired detective, poked her head out at one point. I heard Marcus try to charm her into letting him use her phone. That went about as well as you'd expect. Eventually he left, but not before shouting that this wasn't over. Very original threat, much scary. This morning, got a text from a number I didn't recognize. "This is Nicole. Marcus showed up at my apartment at 3 a.m., demanding to see Lucas. I called the police. They took him away, but said I need a restraining order. Can you help?" So that's where I'm headed now. The courthouse downtown, to help Nicole file paperwork. My buddy from the academy is a sheriff's deputy now, and he said he'd help fast-track it. Meanwhile, my parents are beside themselves. My dad wants to get Marcus into rehab. My mom's torn between the son she raised and the son she enabled, and I'm just trying to protect the innocent people caught in the wreckage. Marcus leaves behind. Marcus finally ran out of people to con. The golden child routine doesn't work when there's nothing left to take, and while I'm not sitting here reveling in his downfall, I'm not losing sleep over it either. He made his choices. He burned every bridge, took what wasn't his, and now he's standing in the ashes, wondering why no one's offering him a way out. Actions have consequences, and I'm making damn sure he feels every single one. Some lines you don't cross. Sleeping with your brother's fiancé, that's at the top of the list. And I'm not going to lie, I felt kind of empty after reading that text from Nicole. But a few minutes after I put my phone down, another text came in. "Beth, hey Lieutenant, your week's up. Still want that drink?" I smirked, shaking my head as I typed back, "I owe you one, don't I?" 3 dots. Then, "Damn right, Friday at 7. Don't be late." For the first time in a long time, I wasn't thinking about the past. I wasn't stewing over betrayals, canceled weddings, or family loyalty that was never really there. I was just a guy, making plans with someone who saw me for who I was. And maybe, just maybe, that was the best revenge of all. Thanks for coming along for the ride, Anons.